and welcome to Art Play and the first 2016 CAC Creative Art Collaboration video series. The theme this month is Pantone's Colors of the Year, Serenity, and Rose Quartz. This was a big stretch for me, guys, because I'm much more of a red, orange, yellow, burnt sienna kind of girl, but I had a lot of fun with it. I think a lot of it had to do with my subject matter, which is my little dog Tallulah. She's a 4-pound, 11-ounce chihuahua. I've had her since she was 6 weeks old. She's been modeling my dog jewelry line since she was about 7 weeks old, and she goes just about every place with me in a little purse. So I thought I'd have a little fun with her because I found that dress you saw a few minutes ago in a magazine. And this is going to be a combination of painting and collage on this 140-pound cold press watercolor paper. I did a couple other little chihuahuas in here too, and I managed to cut them all down and get them into under 15 minutes. So I hope you'll enjoy, and I hope that you watch all the hashtag Color of the Year videos this month. These people put a lot of time and effort into bringing you inspiration and techniques. So thank you for watching. Watch all of theirs, and I hope you enjoy. So I started out with a little sketch of Tallulah's face, and then I laid the dress down and kind of traced it so I'd have a clue where it might go when I was finished. And I've used gesso. In fact, I gessoed over the entire thing. And then I began with the acrylic paints, some quinacridone, and which is kind of achieving a tan color. And then I did her nose with a jumbo Faber-Cast steel, which I'm also stealing a little color from it to highlight some areas. And then I used the rose quartz on her ears and her cheeks. And I'm drying my brush there because I like to work a lot with a dry brush. And just laying layer after layer and doing my favorite thing, blend, blend, blend. And you notice there, I'm going a little bit above the line of her jaw with the dark. Don't be alarmed if things like that happen. I mean, I did it intentionally, but I've also done it before accidentally. And heavy body white will fix that. And actually what comes out, in my opinion, is a great layer of color underneath it. Gives your piece even more dimension. Sadly, I can't photograph these well enough to show you the depths of their paint layers. If my daughter lived closer, I would have her do it because she's a fabulous photographer and she has captured many of my things for me way better than I can. But hopefully you get the idea. So I'm still just blending, my favorite thing. Let's keep blending. So I'm letting her face dry for a little bit, and I'm checking to see if the dress is still in keeping with what I sketched on there, and it's close enough. It's going to work, and I'm going to start on the background here, and I did the background with the Serenity, and I mixed with a little bit of gesso, and just kind of a scruffy paint, and now I'm blending with gesso on her face again, and guess what? I'm going to keep on blending. I used a jumbo Faber-Cast steel black pit pen for her eyes, laid color behind them. And I'm using a white Sharpie paint pen to put the reflection of light in her eye. And I'm stamping on some flowers because I decided I needed to bring more of the rose quartz in. And though her cutout has sort of a rosy, it's more coral actually, colored dress, I thought we needed to bring some more of this color in. I really actually like this rose quartz a lot. I may be using some more of it in the future. And I can always use more blues. I mean, BluByrdeeSkye needs blues everywhere. So I painted them with the same paints, acrylic paints, and I'm just kind of dabbing. And I used a green tip pen for the stem and the leaves. And then I used a fine line black pit pen and kind of sketched around them. Those little feet you're hearing in the background are Tallulah. She runs over and gets a piece of food so the other dogs can't get it, and then runs away to eat it. So I have continued on, finished my flowers, and kind of decorated them up a little bit here with some swirly things. I'm using a gray pit pen because I've glued her dress down and just edging it. And there you go. You see I also added some pearls to it. There was a little, you couldn't see it very well, a little charm there. And I added pearls to it. And you saw it also said doggess because she is a doggess. Now the next one I'm doing, this is a really fun thing to do. I'm all about recycling. Take a Cheerio box, any kind of cereal box, and I'm painting the back and the sides black. And I gessoed the front of it, and you will see shortly that I'm going to actually paint the front of it white. But I had to do this a little in advance because it takes a while for this to dry unless you want to stand there with the dryer drying it, and I'm too lazy to do that. So what I'm doing is I'm painting the box first, and I'm actually going to paint this chihuahua on a piece of copy paper. It's very thin, it's going to warp on me a lot, but it isn't going to matter. And I'm using some chalks this time. And they're pastels that, I think it's, might be Conte that I'm using, I can't tell, and I don't remember. So I'm just outlining, and what I do actually is I mix the color with gesso, and I'm using a blender to blend it in a little bit. So what you're actually doing with these, and see I'm using a pink one now, is you're actually creating pigment for the gesso. And there'll be many layers of this, and you can see I just wiped most of that away, which happens. So eventually I went to my finger and did a better job. So now I've gone back to the rose quartz paint, and I'm actually painting the interior of the ears. And I'm going to highlight the cheeks a little bit and down in her neckline a little bit. And I'm going to do the same thing I always do. I'm going to just keep blending. So I've used the Jumbo Faber-Castell again, and I'm kind of blending it in with my paintbrush and smudging it around to give it a little more muted effect. And I'm still using gesso and the rose quartz. And I'm blending. I'm using a black Stabilo pencil to outline a little bit, and then I'll blend it in with a damp paintbrush and kind of highlighting some of the areas in the little ruffle on the bottom of her dress. And I will, guess what? Blend once I pick up that paintbrush. Ready to cut her out, and I'm kind of putting her on the box to see where I want her. And she needs more blending. That'll happen after we glue her down. Used matte medium, Liquitex matte medium to glue her to the box. But first I'm going to paint the front of the box with a Serenity, and there'll be some heavy body white, that's the tube you see to the left, and gesso that's also put on the backing. And it's just willy-nilly with a few marks in it, and she's glued down in place. Her seam's going to get glued, and I'm going to completely paint her again for yet another layer, but it will be one last layer. And here she is. All you need is love and a dog, and boy is that the truth. And then here is Miss Diva Doggess, and then the one I didn't show painting, this is the typical look of her at the end of the day when we've had a hard day's work. Thanks for watching.